Hello, everybody. Art Hall. That's right. This is Sharon Alexander at Alexander Arts, and for the first time in a long time, I've got a proper art hall here. And I'm going to go through what I got, tell you what I got, tell you what I got it for, why I got it, and maybe we'll play around with it a little bit, but this is just an art haul showing you what I got, some of the new things for my play with today. And let's get started. Now, I'm going to set aside the actual paints because I am going to do a little playing with them first. First of all, the big mysterious white bag back here is a bamboo art pad. I'm not sure if this is really watercolor paper or if it's mixed media or just journaling paper, but I wanted to try some different things. Everybody hears about pulp paper when they talk about watercolors, and usually everybody says, oh, no, use cotton paper. Cotton paper is the thing. Oh, okay, great. But I like to experiment. Boy, look at all this packaging. People that don't like plastic are probably going crazy right now. Honestly, I just like knowing that my stuff is probably dry and clean. Ooh, and I get a fancy box to play with later. Nice little box. Let's get it out of the box. Oh, what's this? What is this? Today, tomorrow, goals, August, July? Oh, okay, so, well, I thought I got a sketchbook, but I may have gotten some sort of planner. I hope not. That wasn't what I was after. Okay, thank you for your order. Well, thank you for sending me my order. And this lovely piece of vellum. Ooh, I'm sure I'll find a use for that later. Let's set that aside. All right. Sketch Journal, 180 gram paper. Not the thickest paper in the world, but certainly not the worst. First impressions. We've got a soft feel. If you Binky, this isn't the time. We've got a small black cat who thinks he's going to get involved. But anyway, it does feel nice. It kind of reminds me, if you've ever gotten to pet a gecko, it's smooth. It's not quite leathery, but it's got a little bit of that feel to it. Maybe it's slightly rubberized. It says Buch on the back here with embossed Buch. Maybe it's German, but I think that's Buch. Got a nice little piece of elastic here that I'll probably wear out and not worry about. Got a little envelope here if you're going to keep notes or small pictures. That's cute. Yes, Binky, hi. This feels pretty satisfying. Oh, we've got not one, but 3 different colored bookmark ribbons. That's interesting. I don't know why I'd need that, but okay. So how does this feel? This feels, well, it feels about the same way as a lot of the mixed media papers I've gotten. How's this spine fold? Kind of, oh, okay. Kind of does the whole lay flat thing. Looks pretty good. A nice number of stitches. Okay, well, we'll play with that in a moment. The other one I got is something a little different. Looks like we've got another bookmark here. All kinds of stuff. Oh, there's a little tab here for adding your pencil to the side. Well, they certainly thought of stuff, didn't they? Let's set that aside. Now this was something completely off the wall. The bamboo one, I had actually had people talk about Hanumel's bamboo paper, so I wanted to, just try some, see what I thought of it. This, sorry, excuse me, still getting over a bit of colding. This is a Kathmandu Valley Company handmade in Nepal paper, and it's made of something called Lokta. I have absolutely no idea what that is, but when I was creating my art haul, I wanted to try out some different things. And so I went looking for just different kinds of paper. And I tripped across this one. I thought, well, I don't know what it's for, but I'm going to try it out. And they've got a little note here. It says, our paper is made in rural villages in Nepal from the inner bark of a Lokta bush, which grows wild in the Himalayas at altitudes of 2,000 to 3,000 meters. So they're way up in the mountains. This is a renewable source as the plant regenerates from the same root system. So they're not killing anything by taking the stuff off. It is a tree-free, I guess they say that because it's a bush, acid-free and environmentally sound paper. Well, try it out. Pinky, stop. Oh, sorry. It is widely regarded as one of the world's finest papers. Well, I'll give the opinion on it myself in just a little bit. We are proud of our contribution to the economic development of Nepal. Yay, Nepal! And the preservation of the art-making process of paper by hand, a tradition that goes back thousands of years in Nepal. Kathmandu Valley in Nepal. Wow, it's nice. I kind of like the feel of this. I almost wish I had some of this paper. It's thin. It almost feels like it has some sort of coating on this side, but that may just have been the paper process. Anyway, note aside, look at this. Isn't that pretty? Not like bees, which was another reason why I chose this one. Oops, I've got it upside down because I've got the logo in the back. This, I have to say, this feels light. I don't know what this paper is intended for, or how strong it's going to be, or anything else about it, but this is, to pun the phrase, paper weight. I mean, just feathery, just nothing. This weighs nothing at all. I mean, compared to the other ones, like, holy cow here, this is a heavy book over here, and this is just nothing. So let's open it up and have a look at the paper itself. Okay, little issue trying to get it to open a little bit, because as you can see, this is a hand-stitched book. I've made a few of these myself, which is kind of satisfying. Let's see, get this to open up and have a real look at it. The paper is really nice. See if I can get a separate piece. It feels more like cloth. It feels like interfacing. If you do any sewing at all, this feels a lot like interfacing. And we don't have really bright sunlight here at the moment, but if I could get it, I can see that the paper is not smooth at all. There are little bumps and little bits of plant fibers. It's really beautiful. I hope it holds up, because it does. It feels like interfacing. I'm almost afraid this is going to disintegrate the moment I put water to it. So it may end up just being an ink pen journal if that's the case, but still, this is really cute. Okay, so that's papers I got. Those are papers I got. This I got for my travel bag, which anyone who's on my Instagram or my Facebook will have seen the travel bag. And this was the final missing piece that I wanted, a set of travel brushes. Now these are again from Amazon. They weren't terribly expensive. There's a set of 3 of these, and they look like little tubes, don't they? Or maybe something else. But nope, they just unscrew and rescrew. And here you go. This is a size 12. I believe this is a 12 and either a 6 or an 8 and a 4. So let's just go ahead and unroll them all and lay them out. That is an 8. So these are just standard sized brushes, and that's all you really need. You don't need a ton of brushes when you go places, and someone's probably out there who's seen the water brushes, the ones that have the water inside the furrows here, and you just squeeze it and get water out of it. Sounds great, doesn't it? I'm not good at controlling those. So I decided to go the other route of having brushes like these that you just take with you. They're real brushes, and I will have to dry them off very well. And hopefully I won't get in any hurry, because obviously if I don't get these dried really well, which is something that's probably not going to happen on the go a lot, what will happen is that you'll undo this. Your brush will still be kind of wet or damp, and you'll put it back in there, and 2 things will happen. First, this will probably rust, and it'll end up destroying your brush. The second is that because that moisture is in there, that moisture will sit in the bristles here at the base, which has glue. And when it sits there like that, the glue will disintegrate and all of your little brush hairs will come out. Speaking of brush hairs, let's fluff these out because they come seized, probably for ease of packaging. Let's see how well, after I've broken all that up, does this go back in. Ooh, a couple of hairs trying to escape. No, that was my biggest worry. But when they're still slightly damp, that probably won't be a worry. And after they've been re-wetted, maybe not a problem. It may just take a little practice to figure out how to get this back in here. And yes, that seemed to have worked. Control the bristles. So anyway, These were something I'd wanted for a bit, and hopefully I won't regret it. We will see as I use them. Go ahead and just fluff them all out while I'm at it. And if I'm not mistaken, these were actual sable. So this is actual hair. This isn't a synthetic. And I think the set was, I want to say it was like $27. It really wasn't bad. Now this one may or may not get a little bit of a reshape. I don't know if you can tell that, but the brush itself is angled on this side and not on that side. So I may have to come through and rework these, but these weren't expensive, so I'm not going to fuss if I have to go back through with some sharp scissors and reshape one brush. Okay. Oh, I never did say where these were from. I mean, other than Amazon. These are Fumo? I'm not quite sure what that says. It could be a P, it could be an F, but whatever it is, P or F, UUMUUI. Not a clue. I also chose this one because it had an actual leather cover, which means it should last a long time without getting torn up. And yeah, that's those. So now the exciting part, paint. So, do we want to see what's in package number 1 or package number 2? Let's go with 2, just because I got it first and because you can already see that this is a Van Gogh pocketbook of metallic and interface colors. So what does that mean? I mean, metallic, it kind of sounds self-explanatory. These are metallic colors. Now, I'm already going to say that as expensive as this package is, you hear that? It's not latching. And it just comes right open. So their little plastic box here isn't exciting. Good thing I didn't buy it for the box. Whoops. And these are popping out, which is okay. Okay, so what do we get here? We also get another little travel brush. And yeah, if you're thinking what I thought, when I picked this up, you're like, where's the brush? Is it broken? Did the brush break? What? After a bit of playing, I realized this came out. And this highlights the problem I mentioned earlier about having little bristles that just kind of stick out. They'll probably just get trimmed off because they probably will never stand up correctly. But this is just a little plastic brush. It does at least go back in its little case pretty quickly. And snaps in right there, mostly. So what have we got here? We have got a selection of colors. Now, all of these had covers on them, and I cheated a little bit because I didn't want to wait for these to be unveiled before I could show them to you. But I am going to show you this much, because when you take off the top part, the information's on the side. See, this is silver, and they've got it in a couple of different languages. So you've got silver, zilver, and argent. And it tells you the item number, series number, something called an EAN. It also gives you the light fastness. And I'm not sure what 800 is, but that may just be the color number itself. And limited number on the back. Even says, whoops, and the color just fell out. Haha. And it tells you that these are by Royal Talens and tells you it's from box 4 and made in Holland and all that stuff. That one just came out. The silver. Now, this isn't my first metallic set. I also have a set of metallics by Finetec, and I absolutely love these. Nice metal case, absolutely beautiful colors. Takes a little bit to reactivate them, get away, but be a little patient. But once these have reactivated, they are almost like gouache. They're super, super opaque, unless you water them down, and then they're not. These I have not tried, but we've got silver, a couple of different colors of gold. We've got a bronze and a copper. This, I wasn't really sure what it was, so I pulled it out to look at it. It says it's graphite, but I really think that just means a darker shade of silver. So we will find out later. And now these. You're looking at these, aren't you? You're all thinking to yourself, why would I spend money on a palette that's got 6 colors of white? Well, believe it or not, these are not 6 colors of white. That is white. It's supposed to be a pearlescent white, so I expect it to be a pearlescent white. These 5, on the other hand, are known as interference colors. On white paper, they probably won't show up much at all. That's expected. But on black paper, it's going to be like walking into a blacklight show. So we will play with that in just a little bit. Just, you know, a quick swatching, not a real play, just to see how those look. And I'm going to show you the thing that I've been waiting for a while. These are paints by Beam. They're a company in Canada. And they've got a whole bunch of little things in here. Let's see, make sure I got everything out. Okay, that appears to be it. It took a couple of days longer than the Amazon order, but really not that much, considering it came all the way from Ontario. And we're going to cover up that because you don't need to see my billing address. But the things I got from them, and if you're interested in seeing them, that is Beam Paints up in Canada. And they make some really pretty stuff. Okay, and the items I got, they call their colors, they call them paint stones. I'll talk about that in a moment. But the colors I got is a set of Northern Lights. There's 6 of these. And a lot of their paints have mica in them. They call them ethical mica. I'm assuming there's an unethical mica if there's an ethical one, so that's my ignorance right there. Anyway, we've got Orca, Rainforest, Wild Salmon, and Wintry Night as some extras that I got in addition to the 6 that come in the Northern Light set. So, what have we got? We've got a nice little letter thanking me for the support of the Indigenous family business. They're made with local Minnetulan wild crafted tree sap, hand-gathered, washed, and sifted Minnetonkan stone. I'm assuming that Minnetulan is the area in which this is done in Ontario. Forgive my ignorance. I don't know a whole lot about Ontario or its provinces and in counties and stuff. Anyway, they wash and gather this. They go for the finest light, fast pigments, plastic-free, because this isn't plastic. These aren't wrapped in plastic. This is actually beeswax infused paper, or not paper, but it's cloth, probably cotton cloth by the looks and feels of it, but this is actually in cotton. This is some sort of paper. Oh, excuse me, I'll be so glad when that finishes. Making my voice go all over the place. Anyway, the plastic free, they make all of their packaging by either hand-cut or sanded reclaimed white cedar, birch, or wrappers. Hand-printed shop plant-based inks and wax with local beeswax. They've got a code down here for 10% off my next order. That's pretty nice. If we want to see the process of mini tutorials and stuff, we can go to their Instagram at Beam Paints and beampaints.com. So yeah, it's a lovely site. I have been there, obviously, since I ordered some stuff. And they sent me this nice little sticker with their logo on it. It's cute. Okay, this is the main set that I got. And this, oh, that's right. This is a free sample of their color Spring Green. Now, this would have been made with local pigments and paints and minerals. And I do not believe this one has any mica in it. So this is just a nice, bright, crisp spring green paint. And there's quite a bit of it there, too. I mean, compared to the dot paints that I bought someplace else, that's a big dot. Anyway, this is telling me that this is and I'm going to apologize for my pronunciation now, was Newden Northern Lights. Light Winds, and it's got a bunch of names that I'm not going to try to pronounce. I'm assuming they're the local language for the names of the colors that I got. So we've got Dreamer's Gold, we've got a Beach Sand, Glacial Rivers, Wet Grizzly, Wintry Night. Let's just have a look. No more suspense. More suspense. Oops, and it's upside down. Boop. But yeah, these are all wrapped up in fabric as well. Their little pots here are waxed fabric. Oh, that sounds like it may be lunchtime. Okay, this is Dreamer's Gold. Look at that. So shiny. I hope that shows up. This is Accident's Shell. very pretty, very shimmery looking. Probably kind of a transparent white, I'm guessing. This is like Professional. Oh, Glacial Rivers. I was looking at the name I couldn't pronounce, but this is Glacial Rivers. Looks very pretty. You can see the highlighting rivers with that. This looks black, but I'm pretty sure it's not. This is Wintry Night. If I'm not mistaken from the pictures I saw online, this has a gold shimmer to it once we use it. So put that there. This is Wet Grizzly. It's a little shiny here, but it's supposed to be a gold shimmer with the brown in it when I use it. And this is Beach Sand. It's kind of a peachy color. Lots of shine going on in here. Okay, now these are the extras that I got to go with this because this is a nice set. Nice little set of 6. Let's get our little waxed bit off of here. I'm not quite sure what I'll do with these little tiny waxed pieces of fabric, but I'm sure I will find something. Okay, I got these right set up at least. Okay, now these are the extras I got. Let's grab Rainforest first. You can see I got everything I got here was pretty much shiny, but they do have regular not shiny paints too. And this one is Rainforest. Can't wait to see what that looks like when it's wet. This is Orca, and like this one is supposed to, the Wintry Nights is supposed to have a golden shimmer to it from what it looks like. Orca has a silvery shimmer to it. And you can see their shine is very different in color. It should be interesting to see what that does. This is Wintry Night. It looks pretty black, but did I end up with 2 Wintry Nights? I did. That's okay. I really liked the look of it. This, even though I'm silly and got 2 because I wasn't paying attention apparently, this is a very intense blue. So I'm wrong. This is an intense blue. This is the shimmery black. And I thought I had gotten the one with the golden that I guess I'll have to look through again if I, well, not if, when. I'm probably going to love these. Wild Salmon. This is a goldy orange color. And since I was dumb and I got 2 of these, I'll set one of these aside for later. Anyway, my experience with natural pigments like these is that they take a little time to reconstitute. So I have my little spray bottle here. I'm going to take a little drink of my drink real quick. Okay. Now, because these are all very shimmery and shiny and everything, I expect that they will show up as testers along with the interference colors here better on black paper. Now, I did not order any black paper, but sometime back I got a little pad of black paper from the dollar store, so it's not exciting paper, but I got it specifically for trying out the darker colors. Now, painting on black paper isn't my thing, and I don't expect it ever will be. I have other plans for these. Maybe it'll be highlights and some things. I'm actually thinking that I might use them in a little bit of mixed media because, you know, all this shiny business here will show up really nice on, say, a dark blue or a really dark, rich green. But we're also going to try out some of our new papers. So I'm going to get rid of some of my packaging and trash off to the side here. Now, as I said earlier, I expect this is probably going to fall apart when it gets wet. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'm thinking I'm going to save it for last. And I'm going to try out the bamboo. I know what both pulp paper and brain just left. Cotton will do when they're used. And like I said, I'm not sure if this is really meant for watercolors, but I'm going to try it out. Mostly because if you really want to test out a paper, get it wet. So this is the white. Let's go ahead before I get too distracted and spray everybody down. I'm going to take these beans and set them up here because I'm not going to use the travel brush they sell in this. I'm going to set these up in here as best I can. And I'm thinking that that's not going to work. Okay. Let's rearrange them a little bit here because I want all of them kind of together. so that I can spray them on this nice plastic surface and not get my actual desk wet. Okay, so let's spray this. I'm not going to use the sample color. I will save that for later, although I'm probably going to enjoy it. It's a nice green. Let's get all of these nice and wet, because we're going to just check them all out just really briefly. This isn't a real swatching or anything like that. We're just going to take a quick look at what they look like. Okay, now that we've done that, let's pick a brush. Well, some of these are pretty small. Let's just pick a number 4. This is a synthetic. Not dip it in my drink. My water cup here looks pretty disgusting, but it's really only on the inside. It's not the water itself. Should not interfere. Okay, shall we do the white or the black paper first? Well, let's go ahead with the white and just see what we have here. We'll go ahead and do these just because I've already got some experience with regulars from my Finetec. So let's have a look at how these go on. Here's a regular silver. Yeah, not horribly exciting on white paper, but I'm not really surprised either. It's got a nice shimmer to it. Okay, and I'm going to jump ahead a little bit just because I kind of feel like I should rearrange these anyway and see this graphite. See that graphite color that got there? This is the dark silver. And yep, it's definitely a darker silver. Kind of reminds me of gunmetal. If you ever see anything that's metallic done in gunmetal, kind of reminds me of that. Paper itself seems like it's a little streaky. It doesn't absorb very well. This probably should be relegated to pens and markers and inks and things like that. Okay, next, let's go ahead and just do the white, even though I expect it not to show up at all. It's actually got a nice little bit of a shimmer to it, which probably doesn't show up on screen at all. But if all you're wanting is a little shimmer, little pearlescence, it's not bad at all. Okay, let's try out that copper. And get that copper on there. Yeah, coverage on that's not too terrible. Not too terrible at all. Yeah, I'm not expecting that I'll probably use this for watercolors because the paint literally is just sitting on top of the paper. Okay, got a copper here. No complaints about the paints, at least. And it's not really a complaint about the paper. It's just not going to be something I use with watercolors. Paper itself doesn't seem to be pilling, although I'm not really giving it any scrubbing or anything like that. Bubbling a little bit, but that's expected with a lighter weight paper, which, let's face it, this is a lighter weight paper. A little bit more of the paint there. Yeah. So yeah, this isn't watercolor paper, obviously. And the paints themselves, if I compare them to the Finetec, they might be a little lighter than the Finetec. The Finetec is a little thicker in consistency once wet compared to this. But this isn't bad. I probably will use this plenty. Feels like a little bit of resist there. Either somebody's had their hands on this a lot before packaging, or maybe they've got a little bit more seizing here. But then, like I said, this is not a watercolor paper. Definitely not a watercolor paper. Okay, at least these are reconstituting really nicely. So, which of these whites do I want to try first? Well, whites, the interference colors. Let's try this one here, which I suspect is supposed to be gold. And yeah, you can't see that hardly at all. So we're going to just save those for the blacks. And we're going to move on a little bit. Out of curiosity, I'm going to start with this white. Let's just start with the lightest colors and move our way up. So here's the white. And I'm going to skip down a little bit because they're not the same kind of paints. And let's see, what have I got here? Just a barely there paper. So this is an extremely white white, which is rather interesting in and of itself. Next lightest is probably this blue, unless my guess is really off. So let's see the blue. Oh yeah, got a nice little cerulean tint to it. This would be really pretty for rivers and skies, even without the shimmer. Can I see the shimmer? Barely. Maybe if I was using a little thicker, it would come out more. I'm sure it'll come out more on a darker color. Let's try this peachy color right here. I'm looking for a good peach. Let's see how this measures up. Of course, it'll be shiny, so won't be very good for mouse tails and pink cheeks, but that's okay. That's not really what I got it for. Mostly what I'm seeing on the white paper is the gold shimmer. Get a little bit more paint on here. See if I can get a little bit more of the color. Yeah, mostly what's coming across is this peachy gold shimmer. It's not terrible. I'm sure I'll find uses for it. Let's try out their gold. Why not? Third gold I've ever tried. Let's see their gold. I like the way it moves. I can see the mica moving with the water. This might be fun for just like dropping it into places and just seeing what it does. A slightly different shade from either one of these. It's less orange than this and less gold than that. It's somewhere in between, like an old gold maybe. Very pretty. And I'm going to cough again. Oh, I hope that doesn't come across the mic too badly. Okay, let's try out this Wet Grizzly. I'm expecting this to be kind of a bronze color, a brown bronze. Ooh. Ooh. That actually comes across on the paper pretty darkly. Let's see what I got here. Maybe a purple tint in the background. Yes, hi, Binky. No, you're not coming up. Come on. Pause off. But yeah, I hope this is on the camera, because that is really pretty. Maybe I should move some stuff over. Let's put the wet stuff on the side. Oh, I promise I was not coughing like this before I started. Oh, that helps. But yeah, this has got a kind of a brownish purpley tint in it. It's really pretty. Kind of reminds me of hematites, of the hematite paint. Let's see, who do I want to try next? Let's try that beautiful wintry night that I had looked at. Because I expect this to be, yep, richly intense from what I was looking at on their website. Not seeing as much of the gold sparkle as I was expecting. But still a beautiful color. I can see a little bit. Maybe I'll see more of it when it dries. But yeah, that is a beautiful color. Let's do that salmon. That was one of the things that initially attracted me because of that rich reddish orange color. I can see this making some really pretty flowers. Oh yeah, and that pretty reddish gold shimmer to go with it. Very nice. And let's try that rainforest. I'm hoping this will be a very running out of space. Running out of space. There's more space out in space. Yeah, it's a nice green. It's got a little bit of a shimmery to it. Might be fun on some leaves. A little bit of rainforest leaves, as they called it. And final color for this collection is the Orca, which I've been really excited to see. It is a gray, a dark gray. I don't know if you can see the shimmer on it from where you're at, but there's pretty good little shimmer on that, even while it's wet. And like this grizzly, this you probably can't really tell. Let me dry this off a little bit. But if I could get the light to behave itself, The ones that have dried have, oh yeah, the color really comes out when it starts to dry. It's not so much when it's wet, but yeah, when it starts to dry, some of those colors really, really start to shine. That wet grizzly in particular, the shine is just out there. I suspect if the sun would cooperate and actually give me some sun, we would really see this. Yeah, it's really, really pretty. Okay, so this was white paper. And the white paper is still a little wet. So I'm going to set the white paper aside. Now, let's test it out on the black papers. And as I did before, I completely skipped these over. But because I skipped those over, let's start with those. Let's see what these look like on black paper. And I haven't looked at the names, so I don't know which one's which. And we're just going to go through and see how they look. That. Ooh, it's a pretty blue color, I think. Now, these are not colors that I expect to just like make whole paintings out of, like I said. Ooh, it's kind of a nice gold color. And I see, you couldn't see, this was the first one I tried on the other page. Could not see that at all. But when I saw somebody else review these online, I thought to myself, fairy wings. Fairy wings, dragonfly wings, all things shimmery and gossamer. Elusive shine. Ooh, there's a pinky purple, plum, maybe? Something like that. But yeah, I thought, wouldn't this be beautiful? Layered over some blue, like dark blue, navies, indigos, that sort of thing. Layered over a darker color of blue, green, even red. Like this actually is a kind of a reddish color right here. Yeah. I hope that shows up on camera. I seem to have missed the prime time for light over here. And that was where I thought, oh, layering, there's the green, layering these on top of a darker color to produce that iridescent, elusive shimmer in things like wings. Or even just little swirls in the air, you know, something to give it that mystical awe feel. Yeah, that's really pretty. Okay, so let's try that white from the shell, I should say from Beam, that didn't show up at all. A little bit more of that. Yeah, oh, you can really see the sparkle now. Very nice. Yeah. You see, this is the shell from Beam, but I didn't do the white opalescent from Van Gogh. Let's just see that. Let's just go ahead and see that. Is there a difference to it? I think the Beam has more sparkle, that's for sure. I think Beam is definitely more sparkly. And it was there, it's shimmering, but if I had to choose between the two just looking at them, I would definitely go with Beam. Beam just has a lot more sparkle to my eye. Okay, so let's try the ones we did again. Let's do that peach. And I know that's not what they called it. They called it beach sand. Yeah, beach sand. This is the beach sand. And yeah, a little bit more of the gold showing up here. Not so much the peachy color, but definitely the sparkle, the gold sparkle part. And let's try that blue that was underwhelming on the white paper. Let's try that blue. Oh, that's interesting. It looks almost green on the black paper. A little bit more paint. Now I can see more blue now that I've gotten the blue on here. A little bit more of the blue pigment. It's actually rather interesting to have that blue in there. A lot of gold sparkle, like that. Okay, let's see, we did the peach, we did the blue, we did the white up there. Let's see what Orca looks like on this, because that was one thing I really was looking for, was a sparkly black contrast, something that I could put on a dark color and it wouldn't do anything other than sparkle, just a contrast. And yeah, I think that might just do what I was looking for. Galaxy in a paint. Now, out of curiosity, I'm going to get some of these other colors and just, just see. Looks very orange on this black paint. And also extremely sparkly, which is the whole point. That was what I wanted. I wanted to add some sparkle to my paint. Because I've got a lot of colors, mostly not sparkly. But there are times when I think to myself, I wish I had something sparkly. Like I did some, I did kingfishers last year. No, sunbirds. I did sunbirds last year. And I used my normal colors and mixed them with my metallic colors to get a little bit of a shimmer for the birds' feathers, because sunbirds are really sparkly. They're like hummingbirds, but in the tropics. That's nice. Yeah, I like that. It's kind of interesting the way the blue is just peeking through on that one. Let's see what the grizzly looks like. And instant bronze. I am seeing steampunk gears here. You hear that, Binkers? I am thinking steampunk gears. But yeah, this is basically what I got. Now I have seen what my Finetechs do. I'm just going to grab the Van Gogh here real quick. And you're hearing me talk about Finetech and comparing them to these, but you probably don't really know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to reach over real quick, grab that palette back. And this is the brighter of the two golds. So I'm going to reach in here, and looking at the two palettes, I'm going to say that this one is probably the equivalent of that. Now this will probably take a bit because it has not been sprayed. And normally I wouldn't just go in here trying to use this. I'd spray it on like I did these other paints and give it a few minutes. But if I don't mind doing a little scrubbing, I can scrub up some color real quick and we'll compare the two. Okay, and I am way overloaded. I don't need that much for what I'm doing. Let's see if I can wipe some of that off. Okay, now this is Finetech's bright gold. And now the paper, it's not going to be comparable because of the scrubbiness because of the paper, but you have to see that that is some pretty good coverage considering, compared to the Van Gogh. And looking at the two palettes, this and that look very, very similar. But this is the Finetech. So, as interesting as it is, mostly what I wanted from the Van Gogh set were those interference colors. I'll still use the others, but that was what I was after. And now that they've dried a little bit, they almost look cloudy. I hope that doesn't go on regular paper that way, because as you can see from the buckling on this, this was not meant for watercolor paper really either. This was probably meant for gel markers. But now that we have tested those, and I have to leave those open to let them dry, I'm going to set this one aside. Ooh, let's pull this back real quick. I wish our light was better, but now that it's dried, oh yeah, now that it's dried, I can see quite a bit more shimmer. Less so on the white paper from the Orca. But this looks almost like a dark indigo ink with gold mica flakes in it. That's pretty. That's pretty. Okay, now, this was the oddball paper, the Lota. And I wanted to do a little scrubbing on this and do a little testing with it. Like I said, it feels like the kind of paper you use for patterns. It's not as see-through as pattern paper, but it has that feel to it. Let's get it wet. Let's start with a little dry on dry first. And what color would I like to try? This is a light colored paper. I'm going to try that Starry Night. Or Wintry Night. My bad. Wintry Night. Just because it's a really nice color. And paper just so hooks it up. Look at that. There is not going to be any blending on this paper. No blending on this paper, at least not for, not for not for wet on dry. I'm going to do pretty good if I can just get one little square here. I also have a nasty feeling that this is going to bleed through. A little bit. Don't know what it'll do to the next page, especially when we try wets. Maybe I should put a little piece of that plastic underneath it to keep it from doing that during my test. Because this is a really nice feel. It's just not going to be for watercolors. Good thing I've got plenty of regular watercolor paper. And even a couple of books I've made for myself. So let's just put that piece of plastic back there so we don't ruin any papers behind on our testings. And now I want to try a little wet on wet. So let's get the paper wet. Actually wet. And this is soaking it up like a sponge. You know those European sponges you get for your kitchen? Yeah, that level of soak. I mean, what is this, the 5th brush of this I've put on here? Just getting a little patch wet. Okay, now for the fun of it, let's pick that color and we're just going to drop color on it. Boop, boop, because we already know that this isn't going to blend. And yeah, the color is pretty much just staying where I put it. I was hoping for better. It's an interesting effect though. But yeah, this is not gonna do what watercolor paper does at all. This is super, super absorbent. It's probably gonna be lovely for, say, pen and ink. Gels would probably be very good for this, but watercolor, not so much. This is definitely not a watercolor paper. But given that thought, surely I've got a pen on here somewhere. There's a random color of alcohol marker. Let's just it's not terrible. It is bleeding out on the sides a bit. Okay, something a little less juicy then. Can't believe I don't have just a regular pen around here somewhere. Hey, Binky, you steal all my pens again? He's over there snoring. Let's see. Well, if nothing else, I can get a pencil. How does it work with pencils? Quick little tree. It's not terrible. It's an interesting feel. Like I said, this is extremely, extremely light. I can't get over how lightweight this is. Okay, so not really a watercolor paper. It's not buckling a terrible lot. I mean, it is a little bit, but not terrible. But wet on wet, not unless you're looking for dots. Dry on wet, expect to use a lot of paint and don't expect to blend. Okay. I still would like to test this with just a regular ballpoint pen, maybe. Because if it's going to do that with that marker, the ballpoint pen is going to be the only other real option, or possibly my fountain pen, which I don't have any set up right now. But anyway, this is the Lokta paper, and it's interesting. It's interesting. So I hope you guys have enjoyed my art haul as much as I have, and I'm going to call this to a close. I might do some proper things with these later, but this was just the art haul. Thanks for watching, and I hope you had as much fun as I did. If you did enjoy this and want to see what I do later, don't forget to subscribe and like and all that so that it'll show you the notifications. See ya!